I got number 1 on the agenda: effective exercise on philosophy.
Yeah, we can start with that.
Alright.
Just lit it in front of the camera. All right. That was never going to stay there. That was going straight in my pocket. So the effects of exercise on people's philosophy.
Yep.
That's what it's starting with.
So, what we're starting with.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, when they do exercise, they get a higher kind of emotional state. If that's correct. I don't know if that's related to you as well. But when they do exercise, their emotions are heightened, their senses are heightened, especially when they're outside doing exercise. When they're in a gym, maybe less so, but when they're outside, definitely. And this kind of makes them a bit more self-analyzing. So they kind of analyze their movement a lot more, analyze what's around them. They're looking at what's around them, and it makes them start thinking. That's why when people have problems, a lot of the time they go running, because they just want to be able to think the problem through, get some stress off their chest, and go over that way.
Yeah, I think the same can be related back to, because not everyone's sort of physically, not physically capable, but not very they don't work things out through fitness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I can relate in that way. So I think that business has more helped me open up my mental state in those kind of terms, because it makes you think about things inside out. So similar to fitness, if you're overanalyzing or hyperanalyzing your body and how things work, I think if you do the same with business, it's the same effect, but for different types of brains, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Because a lot of the time when that's all it is. It's analyzing your position that you're in, and that just increases the awareness of the situation and people's general awareness of themselves. And I think that's one thing which does spark a lot of beliefs and systems within their brain, which then obviously then correlates to mindset and other changes with their personality, which a lot of people say, oh yeah, discipline, change your mindset, and it will give you good habits, and it will make you progress in that direction in the first place. But when it comes to changing your beliefs and how you think about things, discipline can do that. But the reason you're doing something every single day is because you're disciplining yourself to do it for a certain reason. So that reason's repeated often. And if you're stimulating a new belief or having a new philosophical look on the situation, discipline isn't going to be able to do that as well as other things such as physical activity or business.
Yeah, no, I think the word discipline is very overused now, in terms of people say, oh, I'm a very disciplined individual, I go to the gym, and it's like, no,
should be the standard. That
it doesn't specifically make you disciplined because you work out. That's a minimum requirement to be a bloke, let alone to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Whereas what makes you disciplined is doing something all day, every day, rather than just, I work out for half an hour every day, I'm very disciplined. I don't think that's discipline at all. I think that's quite a pathetic excuse for a disciplined individual.
Agreed.
But it's such an overused term, discipline. How do we define discipline? Clearly in a stupid way, because I don't consider that discipline, but apparently a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think it's because it's that saying, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
And the understanding of perfect is different for each person. It's different how they fucking fly, man. Their perception of perfect is different. And when it comes to discipline as well, and just going to the gym, when they're maybe a fat slob that never exercised ever in their life or never done anything, they just existed on their Tesco's hot dogs and stuff. When they were like that, then perfect to them was that bloke that was going to the gym, that bloke that was in good shape, doing business. And now they are doing it. They see themselves as disciplined to their past self, which is fine. It's their perception on their own reality, which is quite interesting to see how perfection is warped depending on the person's reality.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. I think that perfection, is definitely warped to whomever's reality it is perceived by.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, as you said, fat slob starts going gym. Of course, he's going to think he's the bollocks. He's been a fat slob his whole life. Whereas
his idea of discipline is different to, let's say, ours or someone even higher than us.
Yeah.
It's your perception, what you think discipline is. So a lot of people misuse it, or they use it correctly in terms of their self and not as a general overall standard.
Yeah. And I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes, you're more disciplined than you once were, sure. But are you a disciplined individual? I wouldn't say so, just because you go gym and just because you've been fat. In fact, you're probably the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably just a fat slob, but you started going gym. So your personality and habits are still the same, but you might have changed a couple things.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they can't be disciplined. There's always a scale. There's a scale with everything that's every terminology which is rating someone on how well they do something, on how consistent they do something. There's always a scale, and there's very few people that understand the top scale. It's like the wrestling, people that do wrestling. You know, we were saying the other day with them Russians that do 8 hours a day of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. What's that place called? Dagestan, where Khabib's from.
Yeah.
So those blokes, in comparison to someone who is from London, grows up as a fighter or like a fighter, they may be training an hour a day every day for years. And yeah, that's discipline, of course. It takes a certain amount of dedication and discipline to do so.
Especially within London and around the general
of
British
course,
people.
Different lifestyle. But then you look at these Russian blokes growing up with absolutely nothing in the middle of Dagestan, like Khabib's lot. They're training all day, every day, instead of just an hour, got work to do, got school, whatever.
Months.
They do it every single day without failure, and they have that is their life. Like they prioritize that over everything. So anything outside that's like social or even like having access to their phones, they can get that taken away from them if they don't perform in the gym and they're not active and stuff. I think it shows the standard difference. So in a few years' time, spaces like MMA and wrestling will probably be dominated by blokes like that. If it wasn't for the entertainment industry, because of course you're going to have some British blokes, some American blokes, and they're just like purely to keep it entertaining. Because obviously, if it's all Russian blokes, you might as well just have a Russian channel. And they wouldn't sell to UK people.
Russians versus Philippines. Muay Thai.
Yeah, it's like okay, interesting.
Channel. But I fully understand that, and that's the scale. So let's say they're at the top, and then the other bloke that's saying they're disciplined is they've made one TikTok video of them doing 30 push-ups.
Yeah,
disciplined bloke.
Yeah,
there's a big scale difference, and a lot of people don't really understand it. They just look at the people surrounding them and think, yeah, we're good. But you've got to look in perspective of every human, which has that was born with the same ability of you, with functional legs, functional arms, and good to go. You've got to compare yourself to every single one of them, because you may have been born in the UK and you might have had a great start. You've got your money, you've got a house, all of this, and there could be a bloke that's born in Africa, got fuck all.
Yeah.
Just because you're going to the gym does not mean you're more disciplined than him, because this kid could be going to get his water every 3 miles every single day, and you can't even fucking walk 3 miles because you're just so fucking fat. Like, it's not even. It's
I know
true.
exactly what you're saying.
They're saying they're disciplined, and it's like, okay, the kid may not directly be disciplined because it's more of survival. But it's the fact that they're doing more than them.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that they're working harder, pushing themselves harder, and that's just the normal.
That's just their natural state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
100%.
That's where it comes in with philosophy as well, because a lot of people, they are very sedentary. They don't do a lot of work. They don't go out, and their level of mobility is very low. And then when they start getting put into physical activity, that's like the hard times for them. Even though it's meant to be the normal for the human, we're endurance runners.
If anything, it's a bit of fun nowadays, like for people. It's something to do.
Exactly. And that level of sedentary will then mean that physical activity is hard. And then the hard times always triggers some sort of belief system to be able to get you through them hard times.
Yeah.
And people probably, little Africans, if one of them got a phone, they're probably going to be laughing. Hard times, he's going for a 3-mile run. But it's like, blokes do find that hard times nowadays. and that's fine as long as they start building a belief system around getting that done and repeating that every day and progressing it.
Yep.
That is more of a discipline standard of repeating, progressing, and improving. Because practice doesn't make perfect; it makes improvement.
Yep.
And then your level of perfect will change as you improve.
Of course. Yeah, I 100% agree. Right, moving on. We'll talk about the benefits and restraints of self-employment at a young age. So we're quite young, 20 years old, being self-employed and self-reliant and not having like a boss or a company sticking a paycheck in your bank every single week or month or whatever. There's obviously certain benefits, obviously certain restraints. Now, the benefits for sure for me outweigh the restraints or difficulties of it. I think in terms of benefits, like I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to tell anyone I'm doing anything, and I can just do it. Whether that be like career-wise, like what I'm doing during that day for work, or like just going on a day out and doing shit like this, like filming a fucking podcast out in the middle of nowhere. Like there's no restraints. I don't have Tesco's calling me up saying, "Where the fuck are you for work?"
Yeah.
So in terms of benefits, I mean, you can work out the benefits and there's more scalability and you're actually working on your own thing.
Yeah.
Rather than some cunt who's been working 8 hours in Tesco's that day, in my eyes, hasn't done any work. Because yes, they've done work and earned money from a company, but for themselves, what have they done? Stack shelves, what's the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not helping your actual real life. Whereas me building a company for even an hour a day is more effective than that person who's working in Tesco stacking shelves for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I was trying to explain this to a mate the other day, and it's more of like the longevity effect. It's if you work for a business, let's say Tesco's was a great example. Like you said, you're putting money in their hands, and you're just getting paid.
Yep.
And yes, you may be getting paid more than some people that have just started off with their self-employment. Self-employment people may be in the negatives, but in the long term, they're still going to be earning what 20, 30k is average British wage roughly around now. Tesco's.
That's like a manager's. That's like a good wage for Tesco's as well.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're still going to be earning that in the next 10 years. But if you've worked on this business for 10 years and you've done it correctly, you've learned, you've been disciplined in your own way to be able to progress and keep going with it consistently, then you're going to be hopefully earning a lot more than that. Maybe not cash to you, cash in hand or whatever, but as a business, you will.
Yeah.
And that business will definitely be growing. Probably have a member of staff or two by then, definitely. And there's going to be a lot more opportunities and availability for freedom for you once you've done that.
For sure.
Whereas if you're working at Tesco's, you're still getting paid the set wage. And that's fine. A lot of people, they have problems tying them down. And I do understand that. And it's not for everyone. I fully understand. But there is a lot of benefits and there's a lot of negatives.
Yeah, I think some of the negatives in terms of I can't slack off.
Yeah.
Like I can't just, not that I want to, but for someone might be like, oh, but you can't stop working and like take a holiday or whatever. Even when I'm sitting down like watching TV or doing whatever, I'm still on my phone, like checking emails, replying to people, like sorting out business basically.
Yeah, it's pros and cons of that. It becomes of an obsession, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it just constantly grows on your mind.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. It does temporarily limit you on your mental freedom.
Yeah.
But that can be released at other stages because you will have the financial freedom, you'll have other types of freedom, which is available to you.
Yeah, and I think not only that, but you actually built like something.
Yeah.
And it's something to constantly work on. Whereas like, oh look, I work at Tesco's, I get the weekend off. And it's like, okay, but what are you doing on those weekends? Sitting there like playing Xbox or whatever.
Out, yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that personally.
Mm.
Like I just wouldn't, like that wouldn't even, why would I want to do that? It's just a waste of time.
Well, I remember when I just couldn't do it. What I ended up doing, I just done a lot of exercise. Like I was just started running half marathons every time I
and then you just run yourself into the ground and
exactly that.
You end up getting ill and shit like that.
And it just started doing more harm to my body than good because I was working quite a physical job at the time, and then I'd have the weekend, and or let's say, say the weekend is my days off, and I'd get so aggravated just sitting around doing nothing or trying to organise things with mates which are working over the weekend and all this, and I'd just be like, yeah, fuck it, just send it, start running, and then probably go out drinking that night, and then the next day I'd be pissed off that I went out drinking, and
I'd feel like shit,
and then I'll go for another run, and I'll just be really ill, and then I'll start work again. That's just on the repeat, and it's just like, it's not really. It's a lot better. I do prefer the freedom and the ability to relax when you want and work when you want with the self-employment. But it did take a lot of adjusting, especially for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but
and I think your definition of relaxation changes. Because me, sitting on emails is relaxing.
This is relaxing.
Yeah, like this is relaxing. I'm still working. Yes, I'm having a chat with a mate, but it's still like we're recording content, doing this and that for socials. We have to keep active and do something. Whereas if I was just sitting here without a camera, I'd be on my phone, scrolling through emails, and that to me is relaxing. Whereas day to day, you're obviously doing a lot more. You're sitting behind a computer, doing whatever, doing this, doing that,
getting things done by deadlines.
So yeah, your definition and your definition of relaxation definitely changes. Like even if I'm abroad on holiday or whatever, I'm still working.
Yeah,
and it's like but it's just nice. It's a nice version of working. Like even if I go down the pub, there's no like, it will still be like, oh, work. Someone just text me.
Yeah,
got to fucking reply. Got to listen to this voice note. I've got to send another one back. Got to take this phone call. So yeah, I think.
But I'll just jump in there. It's better to do that than to know that you have to go back to work the next day.
Yeah.
Because you never stop working.
Yeah.
Realistically, until you can start outreaching a lot.
Yeah.
And then you can get a lot more free time. But you're always there. Yeah. It's always on your mind. You can always do it. But when you do work, let's say 9 to 5, it's always on your mind as well. So, got work tomorrow, got to have dinner now so I can get to bed early. So it's similar. It's always on your mind, both of them jobs. Apart from the 9 to 5, it's more of a structured on your mind rather than doing it this way is a lot more flexible.
And I hear it from people all the time, like obviously most of our mates work and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, it's Monday tomorrow, back to work. And it's like, I'll never like dread a Monday because it's just a day. Like it just exists. It's just like, it's not exactly like, oh, it's Monday tomorrow, that means this. It's like I do the same. I'm continuously working on the same thing every day.
Yeah.
It's not like a structured, as you're saying, a structured like thing to go by. It's like, oh, Monday.
Yeah, another thing with that as well is a lot of the time you work when the business is available. So what I mean by that is if there's nothing going on in the morning, I don't know, USA's asleep and you're meant to be doing deals with them, work with them, then that's your time to maybe sleep or something in the morning. So it doesn't really go off days and times. It more of goes off when business is available and when best
work
benefits.
Needs to be done.
When work needs to be done, exactly that. So it's, whereas obviously normal 9 to 5 is a lot more structured, and it's 9 to 5 really. Like some people do night shifts and stuff, but it's like,
and I guess there's positives to that. Like once you finish at 5, I can see the why people would like, oh, I finished at 5, now I can relax. That can be relaxing, sure, but it's like in terms of, and I'm not saying that can always be good, like not having anything to go by, because you can be working and you're like, oh, I'm tired, I want to go sleep, but this needs to be done. So I can't just go to sleep, this needs to be done, then I'll sleep. So whether that be taking me to 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever, it needs to be done, so it's got to be done.
Exactly. It's like back in the OFM days, doing it, I'd sleep biphasically, so in 2 separate periods, because there was times where work needed to be done. For example, I'd start at like 8 in the afternoon, like UK, and then finish at like 4 in the morning, sleep till like, I don't know, 7, and then wake up, do work, and then sleep again around like 1, 2ish, and it's just for like an hour or 2, and it's just stuff like that. It just, you're awake when business needs to be done, and you sleep when it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to talk about starting a business as a partnership rather than on your own.
Yeah.
So a lot of people start a business and maybe they don't have the type of person to surround themselves with that might want to start a business with them.
Yeah, it's very tricky nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think growing up in the world that we live in, it's so easy to start a business and it's so accessible, but yet it's so hard to surround yourself with the type of people that want to start a business and actually want to work. Like, yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I want to start a business, and they start like going to uni and shit like this and studying business, and it's like, you do know you can just start a business.
Just crack on.
Yeah, but a lot of people struggle with the finding someone to do it with, and a lot of people don't want to find someone to do it with. Maybe they see like a negative to that. Oh, I've split the profit with a partner, and yes, but you technically should be doing double the work, so you should be getting that money in twice as much, twice as fast, and twice as more efficient. So therefore, the split should be even anyway.
Don't look at what you can save, look at what you can earn.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a quote I saw online actually. I can't even remember where it's from, but it's probably some wise, smart philosopher guy. But yeah, no, I definitely understand that. And as well, even if you do start off with someone else, they could still be working whilst your partner's working hard. So for example, what we did at the start as well, we were both working full time. We were both doing our jobs and stuff. And then Kyle, he left his job to work full time on the business. I continued working, and I was doing a lot of the small, easier jobs that would just be a nuisance to him, whilst he could dedicate his time to more growth, more outreaching,
progressing.
Yeah, a lot more progression, because he had a lot more time in his hands. I know he was working hard. I'm not stupid. I know what he's like, because we're good mates.
Yeah.
So I knew that even though I may be doing my job, coming home and then working more, and he's just been at home all day, I still know he's probably working harder than me or doing more hours. So you do need to find someone you can trust. And that is definitely hard nowadays. I think it's going to become a bit easier with the newer generation, because obviously neuroplasticity in younger people is a lot higher. So they have been told a lot more often nowadays to go out on your own and start your own business and find brothership or brotherhood, and continue down that path. So it definitely will progress, and it will definitely be easier for the newer generation. But the people, say 19, 20, 21, 22s, that will be quite hard.
I think so, because people are so set in their ways as well. And I think that's a big problem nowadays, is that people have such strong mindsets about things, yet they don't really know what why they have that mindset.
Exactly.
So people will say, I've got to work a job, get a mortgage, get a wife and kids, and that's what I've got to do. Whereas it's like, you don't really have to do that. And people are so like set in their ways that even if you try to explain to them, this is how I would go about not doing that, they don't want to listen. People are so what's the word, like ignorant,
hardwired.
Yeah, so brainwashed and so ignorant to the fact that there's other methods of doing things than their method. And it's like, I'll happily accept that some people just want to work a 9 to 5. Like, I'll never say, you can't do that, that's shit.
Yeah, no.
It's like, if you want to do that, for one, less competition for me, so it's fine, don't really care. But also, I don't know what I was getting at, but anyway, people are so set in their ways nowadays, and they're so ignorant, and I think there's like such opposing views, and I think that's the way that we've sort of been set out. It's like the media, there's two sides to the political system, two sides to everything. Like, there's the left and the right, and you've got to separate everything. You've got to separate the races, and they don't want us to like work together, and that's where like people struggle to make friends and like strong bonds, especially like as blokes, because you're just told, can't trust another bloke, like, it's gay, can't be that close with another bloke unless you're like brothers or whatever. Or go on.
It links back to that perception I was on about, perception of your own reality. And if you've been grown up, you've been told over and over again, repetition in your brain, that you can't trust people and you can't do this, you can't do that, they're going to betray you, they're going to take 50-50. When they get the money, they're going to want to do bigger things and leave you. If you've been told that is your perception on reality, you're going to believe that. That is going to be your system that you're going to go by. So a lot of people, they find it hard to connect with others, because a lot of their beliefs and systems are closed, because like you said, they've been hardwired or brainwashed into thinking this. And I don't really like the word brainwash because it's their own personal reality, but a lot of the time it isn't perfect, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can definitely improve, and there's a lot of room for improvement in a lot of people, especially when it comes to opening up and trying to trust and relate to other people and cooperate with other people, rather than having that arrogance to say, no, I've been told this from I don't know where, how long ago, and this is correct. And it doesn't have to be correct. It could be wrong. You've just heard it enough times incorrectly. It's like it's going back to saying practice makes perfect. With if it's incorrect practice, does that make perfect? No. If anything, that's going to cause more dramas, more problems.
Yeah.
So it's how you need to just learn to adapt and understand where you get the information you know. Where have you got that from? Where have you got them belief systems from? And reanalyze yourself, which goes back to our point earlier, how physical activity can definitely help you through that.
Yeah, agreed. Along with other things, like it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Of course, physical activity is good for everyone. Like there's no doubt exercise is good for everyone, but I don't think it's the way that some people choose to relax or grow or things like this. Like I understand another perspective. Obviously, you're quite physical.
Yeah.
In terms of like fitness helps you out with mindset and clearing your mind. You might go on a run or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas I might sit there and just work, and that'll help me. And it's like there's two sort of different types of brains and different
belief systems.
belief
like
systems.
You're saying, and ways of processing. 100%. And I'm not going to then go say yours is wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It works for you.
Yeah.
Works for me. It's your own system, and people need to get a fucking grip and work out that they're not the main character.
Yep. And even if it was, it's like, why would that bother you?
Yeah, it's not your problem.
Yeah, it's your life. If it was wrong, then I'm going on the wrong path and you're going on the right path. Simple.
If you did want to, you can advise them of your path and say, did you want to give it a go? It might help you out. And that is some advice. And that is, if they want to listen and learn and they try it out and it does help them, brilliant. If they don't want to listen and learn and they just, I'm not going to do that, and they continue going down their bad route because their path may not be as effective as yours, then, shit bus, just let them drown. Or
exactly,
you can try to help them out, but if they're not going to listen, it's like that thing, you can't force them to listen or trust you, or they've got to do it themselves.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, 100%. Right. So, weed, marijuana.
All right. So
cannabis.
Drugs. That's another thing in this population, or this community, society. That's the fucking one. Society.
Fucking hell.
Some beers, mate. That's another one in this society, which is massive. And it is, some people, it does build good relationships. And like we were saying earlier, it is a good way to connect with people because they do get into a higher mindset and allow themselves to be a bit more adaptable to their situation and their beliefs and their general philosophy. And it can make very stubborn people believe things that they may not have in the past.
Yep.
So that's one thing about it. However, the misuse of it and how bad that is in this nowadays population, especially with weed, a lot of people believe things about it which is incorrect, and then they refuse to change because that's what they've always been told. So it's harder to tell them they've been lied to.
Yep.
Than to get them to learn new things.
Yep. It's easier to lie to someone than it is to convince someone they've been lied to.
Yeah, exactly that.
Very good quote. One of my favourites, and I think that summarises modern society as a whole pretty well. Because, as we've been saying, people get corrupted by these ideas they're told. They don't know where they got them from. They don't know why they believe this. They just believe it because they're too ignorant to say, no, that was wrong actually. Don't know why I believe that. Whereas it's like, it's so much easier to lie to someone, say, yeah, mate, weed is good. It's so good for you. Cures cancer. Makes you feel good. If you want to do that 3 times a day, go ahead. It's good for you.
And a lot of these studies as well, have been on people that are over 25.
Yeah.
And most of the studies that are people over 25, it is fairly beneficial.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's supplied correctly and used correctly and not overdosed and all of this. So there is definitely benefits. However, a lot of people, they rely on random people to provide them with this information and then they get it incorrect just because they're stubborn and they think they know better. So they start doing it at a young age, and then this molds their brain incorrectly, and it leaves pathways unused and pathways overused, which has then caused problems with the brain chemistry, which is another massive problem of society because it causes a lot of problems, a lot of emotional instability, and a lot of problems with just people being able to act logically and think correctly, which is potentially what the system wants. But it depends on what conspiracy theory you believe, but it is all very manipulative, and it's hard to get valid information that you can
100%.
actually believe.
I think as well, it's just such a shit drug. Like, who would you rather chill with? Someone who's on coke, crack, name a drug, or would you rather chill with someone who's on weed? You'd rather chill with a bloke on crack, let's be honest. Someone on weed is just sitting there, monging it.
No comment.
So, yeah, someone who's on weed, they're fucking boring. They're just sitting there. They're having a good time.
Yeah, it's quite selfish as well, isn't it?
It's a very selfish drug. Whereas someone on coke, they're bouncing about, like, oh, fucking, let's go do some more. Come on, fucking, let's go get those girls. Let's go do this. Someone on weed's just sitting in the corner, like, oh,
this is great, isn't it?
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of drill in the background. Just like, oh yeah, good tune. Yeah, and it's like, you're fucking boring. And then think of who's told them. Like, who have they got these ideas from that weed is so good?
That's another thing I would like to mention actually. With information being corrupt and misleading and incorrect, it's a lot of it to do with marketing.
Yeah.
Like you're about to go on and say, where have they got that information from?
Yeah. For one, they've got it from some bloke at the skate park who's been doing weed the whole life. So obviously they're going to be like, oh yeah, it's good for you. It's good. I do it every day. Look at me.
Most likely dealing it out.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, for one, they're probably a dealer. Two, they live a shit life. They work at Tesco and they're just riding skateboards down the skate park. Oh, good life.
Yeah.
Do you really want to listen to those sorts of people? Whatever. But yeah, where have they got their information from? It will be from corporations that want to legalise weed.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah.
It will come down to, these like medicinal companies that are trying to legalise weed over here. And obviously in America, it's already like legalised quite heavily. And in Canada, it's legalised. And it's like, obviously they're going to tell you it's good.
Yeah.
Because they make a fucking profit out of it. It's like, oh, take the vaccine, it's good. It will save people's lives.
Yeah.
It's all like it's a big game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell the people that it's good. It'll make us some money.
A lot of the information nowadays, which is supplied to the public and society, is dumbed down and very generalized.
Yeah.
So, for example, people say cholesterol is bad for you. Now, a lot of you are going to believe that and be like, yeah, it's really bad for you. But it's only bad for you in certain ways. Some cholesterol is good for you. Some cholesterol is only bad for you when you combine it with a lot of sugar, or sugar in the blood, because then it breaks down the cholesterol and then that clogs up your arteries and stuff. So there's a lot of things that people just get told because they're not smart enough to understand the whole story behind it. And that's one with weed, definitely, and drugs, because they're told that it's good for you by some people that have just generalized it and said it's not good for you. It's good for you in this situation here. Let's say you've got epilepsy. It's great for you if you've got some epilepsy and that you require this drug to calm you down and prevent you from having seizures.
Got some epilepsy.
That's great. But then it may not be great for you if you're a fucking 16-year-old smoking this up, because it's just going to corrupt your brain. It's going to disconnect that logical thinking to your emotions, and you're going to be unable to be able to perform when it comes to in future life, and you're just going to be unstable. It's going to corrupt your brain. It's not good for you.
100%. 80-year-old John, who's in a hospice, he has leukemia. Of course, a bit of weed is going to be good for him.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Probably it's going to
kill his lungs, won't it? But...
Probably, yeah. But it'll like heal up his cells or whatever the fuck weed does. I don't really know. Because I don't do that shit. But of course, it's good for him. He's 80. He's bald. He's got leukemia. Sure.
What has he got to lose?
Give him some weed. It will heal him up. It will make him feel a bit better about himself. But yeah, as you said, 16-year-old with a future ahead, smoking weed every day, all day, every day. going to school high,
Yeah.
like these types of people, and it's quite upsetting to know the fact that they're sold this lie that weed is amazing for you and it's so beneficial.
Things with stigmatizing things as well. It hasn't actually got that much of a bad stigma behind it. People actually see it and they think, yes, it's good, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking it's trendy.
Yeah.
But it's like most of the time it's backwards. And then someone that's eating healthier, it's like, oh, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
Don't you want this pizza? You're weird. You're all of this.
Yep.
And why do you believe them things? Why do you believe that eating healthy is bad?
Yep.
And why do you think smoking weed's good? You've got to kind of understand why is your brain thinking like this, and try and analyze it, like we said earlier, hyper-analyzing yourself, and then understand that you may be wrong.
Yeah, and think, why are you being pushed these ideas? Why, whoever is pushing these ideas, however powerful and great they are, who's pushing the fact that you need to, you know, be free and young, drink, do all these drugs, dumb you down basically?
Yeah.
And who's saying, don't eat healthy, eat these genetically modified tomatoes we've grown in our back garden.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Don't eat healthy, eat that pizza, enjoy your life. Why do you think they're pushing these ideas? Because, for one, look at the people that are pushing these ideas. They're probably not doing these things themselves, because they're probably very switched on individuals. And yeah, in general, it's all a big fucking scam.
We're losing the light here, so
yeah,
we'll probably wrap this up.
Yeah, cool. I want to talk about a quote.
Do a quick 5 minutes on a quote, because the light has gone.
In fact, we'll fuck the quotes off. We'll do some would you rather questions.
We'll finish off with one would you rather, in a bit of depth, if need be. And then that's how we'll do it.
Right. It's a good one. You'll like this one.
Oh, Jesus.
So, which job would you rather take for 500,000 quid a year? Right? All the resources you're going to need for the job, like to actually carry out the job, they're all covered. Like, you don't need to worry about
additional costs.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. They're all covered for you.
Oh,
you'd have like some little dodgy connections with the police and that, but
what the fuck is this question?
But in general, if you get caught, you're fucked. Like, if there's enough evidence against you, you're fucked. Right.
Yeah.
So which would you rather? Hitman for criminals who manage to escape the justice system. So it's your job to go pop off a few like Pablo Escobars or whatever. Castrate child abusers and rapists. Yeah.
That'd be quite tricky.
Make the rich people that got their wealth unethically bankrupt.
Right, so how many would you rather? There's 3 or 4?
There's 4 of these.
Oh, right.
Kidnap corrupt politicians and leave them in the middle of the desert without supplies. I don't see how that could be a job. But
what was the third one?
The third one was make the rich people that got their wealth unethically bankrupt. So just take away all their money.
They're all actually doable things. There's probably blokes out there that are very skilled doing this, but I'll probably say the Hitman one. That would be very...
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, to be fair.
Yeah, wonder why. But it'll probably be a lot easier and a lot less chance of getting kidnapped. If you're cutting some bloke's knob off in a basement, there's fucking blood everywhere. There's a lot of shit to sort out.
Yep.
If you're going after the rich, you're always going to have some dramas there because they've got powerful friends that are coming along.
Yep.
And the first one, what was it? Hitmen for what?
Hitman of criminals who manage to escape the justice system.
It's criminals that escape the justice system.
So they're hiding anyway.
Yeah, they're hiding. They already want them to die. Yes, they may be a high-profile person because they're under investigation.
Yep.
However, you know, sniper, 800 meters.
I don't think there'll be many questions asked, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, not even a sniper. Just you could easily just go stab them and then they would be gone because it's England, isn't it? UK.
Yeah.
It's happening like what, 50 stab crimes a week or something mental. So it's What about you?
Same, pretty much.
Same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good with your.
To be fair, the castrating the pedos would be fun, but as you said, chopping a bloke's knob off in a basement somewhere where they're screaming.
Plus,
and they probably live quite like a normal life. Like most pedos just live in like a council estate. The name's John.
Plus the rapists, mate, they're skilled. They might be coming. They might come get you. Make even a reverse card. they might have you. Like if you're slacking one day, maybe had a long day or something, you might catch you slacking. Mate. It's a risky game.
Right. That was a quick one, so I'll do another one.
All right, one more.
Right. Would you rather live paycheck to paycheck in modern day or be rich in the 1820s, so 200 years ago?
1820s, what, in the UK?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So what's that, Napoleon time?
Just after.
There wasn't many threats around then, was there? Wasn't, because what I'm thinking is, if
It's
you're
quite
rich,
peaceful times.
yeah, if you're rich around them times and there's a war kicking off, you may have a few dramas, because, well, you're going to have to supply a lot of food
Yeah.
to armies. You're going to want your country to win, otherwise you're potentially going to get fucked. So you're going to be supplying a lot. There's going to be a lot of work and admin to do. Nowadays, 9 to 5, it's not too bad. Like, you can do it. The only thing is it's drained you mentally. But if you just dumb yourself down, then you could possibly do it. But and as well with 9 to 5, you can easily excel at that. You can become quite
Yeah,
well.
but it's living paycheck to paycheck. Like, you're
Oh, okay.
pretty much struggling.
Oh,
You're
okay.
just modern day.
That would be hard to have a family
So
with
yeah,
that.
you got a phone. You might have a family.
Yeah.
There's no like restrictions on family. It's just
And you have to be stuck like that for your whole life.
I mean, that's not in the question, but I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, obviously,
Yeah.
make some changes. But
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably say. Ooh. What about you? Go on. You put this through. You might be able to sway me to one side.
Rich in the 1820s. Industrial times. Few dodgy dealings going about. I think I don't know. Stick me on a horseback. Whoosh. Jamal, get back to work.
Oh mate, you got me saying that. This is fucking UK as well, so it's not like nah, but yeah, no, I get what you mean. It is pretty easy, especially if yeah, okay, that you do sway me a little bit there. Not because of the not because of slavery, more because of the potential opportunities to be able to. It's an industrial time. There's a lot of growth occurring, and there's easy to be able to put your money in the right place, especially if you're gonna, maintain your self discipline and your
Yeah,
mindset in the
I
current
think
time.
if you're rich, you're rich. Like if you're rich 200 years ago and you didn't know about modern technology now, you're not
Yeah,
gonna think, oh no, if I lived in 200 years, I could be having a phone. You're not really gonna think that. You're just gonna think, oh, I've got all that I could ever ask for in this time period. Whereas like people in 200 years will think, nah, fuck going back. I could have a flying skateboard or whatever the fuck they're gonna
to be
have.
fair, no, I probably would take the 18th century.
Yeah.
Just because it would be a lot. 18th century?
19th
19th
century.
century, sorry. It might be no, because you, like you said, you wouldn't know much different.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I pretty much just eat like I would do back in them days anyway. I just pretty much have meat, food. I don't really have pizzas. I don't really have Pepsi and all this stuff. Obviously, occasional beer, but
Yeah.
bit of ale back then.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
A
be
few
too bad.
chicks on the go, like.
Fuck it. A few slaves. Why not?
Oh god.
Good times. Bit of raiding parties.
Right. That's actually all the would you rather
Yeah.
questions I had. I only had two. No, that's fun.
Right, so we'll finish up there because we have literally lost the light and fuck are we doing here? But we could probably stay here all night, but once again, we've got work to go do. Chill out time, it's probably over. So
Nice.
we'll probably do another one soon.
Yeah.
Why
Sounds
not?
good.
Sweet.
Easy work. Sound.
Outro.